issues continue to pile up elsewhere. Epic Whale might have just met his demise at the hands of Cold, so tells me that Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, they're still on the move. They're still looking at third party, any instances they can get their hands on. But Southco, Art School, first they've got to deal with Oceania. And the longer this draws out, Jacob, the worse it is for both of them.
Yeah, when they won their major championship in Major 2, it was through aggression. It was through running down teams, forcing them back to the lobby, whether they liked it or not. They're trying to channel that here, but it's just not that easy because every one of these teams, regardless of the region, are one of the best teams in the world, which is how they qualified to this stage. Goofy, Vortex, and Mountain, they're just not going to roll over. They're going to fight with every fiber of their being. The Vortex takes a good shot. Shield goes out the window. Arc continues the pressure on that other side. Salco's there to back him up. Goofy just kind of gets tricked a little bit. Damage continues to pour in. Salco and Arc are feeling more and more confident with each second passes in this fight. But Arc might have bit off just a little bit more than he can chew. 40 HP or left is all he has left.
A little bit of over-aggression possibly spilling through there from Arc, and that's going to give Mountain, Goofy, and Vortex much more priority inside of the box fight, but teams are continuing to collapse around the map. Pico, Veno, Flixie also looking to establish a little bit of a surge strategy. It comes as no real surprise that some teams are still looking to just trade knocks from their surge-based positions, but again, when teams are caught up in these close encounters, they don't have any other choice but to fight their way through. And that's exactly what School, Arc, and Southco are looking for, but they need to have commitment. Vortex, Mountain, and Goofy just continue to delay. It is a worst-case scenario for both of these teams.
From the off-spawn fight, taking down Tayson, they're now putting their aggression onto Agers, Acorn, and Pollo. They got that first elimination already on the IGL, leaving Agers and Pollo on the back foot. And it's not only that team they have to worry about. If you look at the minimap, the north, the south, even the east has third-party potential written all over it. Pollo's taking a lot of that pressure, and this is exactly what I warned you about. When you have that one-pump potential, they're immediately going to put it to use. Down goes Pollo. Doxy, Pablo, and Chino are looking to take over Game 9.
It's less about the one-pump potential for me, Jacob. It's more if you see Doxy, Pablo, and Chino win that off-spawn as quickly as they did, you never know where they're going to come from. These guys are experts at executing the roam strategy and finding their surge through sheer elimination firepower. And Agers left to pull back the Demon's debris. But this is like starting from square one. Two builds. We can see a little bit of where things went south here. Checking back in with Prodoxy, finding that initial knock, leading into the elimination onto Pollo. It's just disastrous right now for Acorn.
Not just them, though. No Savage, he was knocked. Chaps are trying to get back into it, but he's going to fall as well. Him and Reason just go down to Snowy and Sod. Ryu, he was eliminated early on, but they have to watch out. The third party's now looking to crash. They know, they heard it. That's Reed, Cooper, and Curly trying to make up for lost time. They were able to get the revive off, but saw just a sliver of HP, looking for survival. The launch pad comes out, so they have to abandon ship. Cooper sees it into the sky. This is his only chance. They cannot let him survive because they need the points. They need the surge, and they're going to grab it all.
Curly and Cooper, just the perfect tag team to nail those players. The moment that they try to escape, third parties are just so vicious, and it's crazy to think, Jacob, at how much action has really taken place inside of the Storm.
Oh no, I saw what happened in the feed, but now we get to see it here. Flixie down. Vico's trying to fight back. He gets the elimination onto Tay-Tay. Rido's essentially going to be by himself, and you see him lurking around. Veno just runs into the brick wall. Rido is there. Oh my God! Back to back!
I'm speechless! I can't believe we just witnessed that! Veno and Vico have Raito in their sights, and yet, somehow, some way, they're the ones that are sitting, waiting for the battle bus to take off in the next lobby. Iyamzo, Clicks, and Higgs drawing us back into Supernova Academy. But Jacob, this is preposterous what is taking place.
I feel like all three majors was kind of like leaning towards one thing. A lot of these towers, the surge, the trading shots, but when you come to the global championship and things don't work out, you have to adapt, and you're really seeing a lot of these teams adapting at its finest. Marius, Vanya, Pixie from the OXR HQ. This is exactly what you're talking about, consolidating the heals early on in the game, 3 med kits in the inventory, extra med miss. So now, even though they have to rotate on out, they're as healthy as can be. The Flowberry Fizz and that Launchpad means they can cover almost 1,000 meters across the map before they have to land.
It's all about just trying to stay out of that render distance. They don't want to be scouted out as they're soaring in off these rotations. But Pix, Darm, Demas just continue to impress. You would never believe that this is their first ever LAN experience. They have played with so much confidence throughout the entirety of this weekend. It almost feels inevitable before they find their victory royale.
See, Darm clutched 60 points as a solo, the most of any other player. Taco, we have 8-time champions. We have 7-time champions. We have 6-time champions. We have some of the best players in the world, but it's Darm, the new kid on the block, that's really putting on a show here for his team. If they can continue this pressure, you know, I think that something can happen here when the score is over at the end of the day. Only time will tell. Non-Resign and Alex, they haven't moved away from their drop spot too yet. The zone has kind of helped them out, but now they're going to get a farther pull than they've ever faced so far. And the only big question, seeing nobody else really around them, is how much surge do they have?
They'll at least have that rip pod incoming, a little bit more resources, a little bit more utility that they can possibly utilize. But heading towards the top of this mountain range, Anon bound to have spotted out those players a little bit further east from where they're located. So you have to anticipate that there's going to be a team possibly looking to set up a crouch sneak play. You can never be too careful. You got to check every single corner in day 2.
Kanata Rapid Bolts rotating on over, trying to get as close to the center of the zone as possible, give themselves a little bit of elevation to work with. Not too much. They don't want to be kind of the focus of the lobby overall. Seti, Yapko, Panzer, same thing for them. They already got their mountaintop. Just at the edge of the zone, though. Seti's using that bush to his advantage, not even a full box.
If you don't respect the player, you've got to respect the gameplay. Maybe Seti can win over this French audience. Maybe he can be an honorary, nominee for somebody to cheer for here, because they've really been playing lights out this weekend, Jacob. They deserve a little bit of credit for what they've been able to put up. But right now, it's all about Anon, Alex, and Resigns trying to shut down Seti, Panzer, and Yapko. They don't want to allow him to find any sort of rhythm.
Yeah, it's going to be tough, though, because you saw that stat. Yapko, with 2 different versions of the AR, he has the most damage in the lobby, making sure that they can play these games out with flexibility. They can play these games out with space and positioning, because he is making sure they are almost always above that Storm Surge threshold. And it comes from positioning like this. Remember, Taco, they land at the Kappa factory all the way towards the east, so they're making their rotations a huge focal point of their game plan. As we jump on board, Clicks, Higgs, and Iyamso still rotating in from the north side of the map. They're being trailed by King Phaser and PH which is not a comfortable feeling, because King Phaser and PH love to fight.
And it's not only that, but look at how much material they've been having to burn on their way in. Not only that, but they're also just announcing to everybody else inside of zone already that's looking back, oh, there's walls going up. Oh, there's definitely at least one team approaching us from the flank, so they don't even have a chance to try and even posture more towards the inner section of that edge of zone. And Phaser, King, PHN, that is the last team you want behind you, because for the reasons you just mentioned, Jacob, they love to fight.
And they do so as a full trio. So it's almost like a hope for Clix, Iyamso, and Higgs, or any other team positioned nearby, that they're above the damage threshold, because that's one less aggressive team that you do have to worry about. But you're seeing when it comes to our top 10, 2 more teams have went down. Still got Malibuca's team alive, 332 points. He's only 2 points down from 8th. 2 more points after that for 7th. A little bit more of a run to get into the top 6, but with that player and team already down, it's a realistic chance. Uncontested has proved to be fruitful, but oh my gosh, Detector strikes somehow, some way. Panzer, Yapko, they're both down. Seti, the invitational champion, has to figure out a way to fight back, but that trade's on the other side. Visual diminished. They have to be nearby, and especially now, more and more teams are closing in on the distance. Seti has to figure it out, and he gets denied.
There's just nowhere left for Seti to run, and Francis going crazy. Watching Seti be eliminated, but the action isn't done just yet. Anon resigns. Alex still overhead. Underneath, Buyuriru and Wixie, they're trying to prevent Braves, Visuals, and the Minish from actually leaving this territory. But for how long can they actually stop them? The moment that they move out of here, Visuals bound to take notice. He's immediately trying to apply a little bit of additional damage, maybe get some good shots off, but revisiting what was going down with Flixie, Yamzo, and Higgs, they're actually going to be the ones to get the jump onto Asia. Razzle a little bit too isolated, and that's going to be an immediate knock into the elimination.
Yeah, Razzle got frazzled by Clixie, Yamzo, and Higgs, but they're not giving up. And this is a change-up with another knock, an elimination going over to Yamzo. It all comes at a cost because Clix goes down. Higgs is trying to stay alive, and he does just that. Yamzo helping save the day, and that's the big part from this team. Because remember, there was a moment yesterday. They got a knock. They got an elimination on the Kanata. Higgs wanted to push over. He wanted to fight that fight 3v2. The rest of the team said, nah, let's rotate in. These guys have come for a comeback.
But Pablo, he's last man standing. Paper, still looking to see if he can find him, and Victor V right next to him. Pablo so deeply tucked away into a corner, but he doesn't have a whole lot of options to escape here. Immediately charged in, but Paper, what a shot! He's gonna be put down into the dirt. Victor V is gonna be able to revive him. A nice clutch by their fragger, but that was still insanity.
I love how they're willing to fight the best of the best in the entire world, and that's Victor V's legacy. If y'all remember way back when Arkham was even still playing, Coney Crossroads, Victor V said, this is my drop. I don't care how many championships you have, Epic. I don't know how many championships you have, Arkham. You're gonna have to go through me. And it's full circle. Now they're on the same team, and that confidence for Victor V is at an all-time high.
This is a much more familiar sight, though, for Swizzy, Queasy, and Mustache. Arguably their best loadouts at this point of the lobby so far here today. And Mustache, Swizzy, Queasy definitely still being very conscious of what surrounds them. School Arc and Salgo not too far behind, but Yamzo and Clix, they're forcing their way into these edges of zones, and they just don't have anything to work with. The last of their materials being expended. Yamzo even opting to try and fall further back, hoping that the Medmis can buy him enough time, but Pump, Baka, Pars, they're already in zone, Jacob. They'll hold this for as long as they want.
Yeah, and since they're already positioned in zone, like you said, it makes it an easy decision for Pars to kind of go by himself. He knows his teammates are watching his back, try to get that loot as fast as possible. Yamzo knows they're closing in on the distance. He's trying to use his crash pads to escape, but you cannot escape NA West as they take down Clix, Higgs, and Yamzo, and their struggles continue.
Just asking for way too much for Yamzo to wiggle his way out of that one. Even if it hadn't been Baka, Pars, and Pump, you could see there's still several other teams in the area that were bound to lobby focus that solo the moment that they spotted him out. Malabuko walks ping, though. Looking to get a little bit more active here, trying to funnel teams around them. They want to see if they can make a play. Just to switch slightly higher up off the elevation, utilize some of this natural map terrain, but they're still holding teams back. They don't want anybody rotating through them. Malabuka keeping a heavy eye out. Walks, separate angle hold there too. But right now, they've got a little bit more time. It's the calm before the storm.
I think that's a little bit of an understatement, the way some of these games have been going on, especially today, where more and more teams are realizing the position that they are in on that leaderboard. They're realizing one of the only ways to come back is actually contesting that high ground, making sure Mustache, Quizzy, and Swizzy don't continue to run away with a tournament. I mean, they're doing the same thing. Him and Braves getting active early on. They get another elimination on the mid-team. As the Arms just continue looking around, every team that crash pads to the zone, they're at least landing 1, 2, 3 crucial shots, which is where you see the difference right there from Coyote, Yuma, and Raise, is because they used the Flowberry Fizz with the crash pad to cover more ground, get higher up in the sky, and make it harder for them to get tagged up.
A little bit of a look back into what went down with Brazil. Phaser actually winning out, getting a good knock onto Cooper. And that's going to leave a very difficult entry point for Salco, Arc, and School. They're not even going to be able to push through. Just completely forced back. The interruption so steep, but Jacob. Another team bound to try and jump immediately onto them, but Ping, Malabuka somehow brought back without much of a challenge, and that is actually insanity to witness. And it's the surge underneath, that's the real problem.
It's not just surge, it's active surge on top of that. Alex and On resigned, they're trying to rotate away. They get some shots, but they're still 160 below. Every 7 or so seconds, 25 damage pours out, and you don't get knocked. You get straight eliminated. Crash Pad, Flowberry Fizz, they're doing what they can to rotate towards the zone, but it's Queasy, it's Swizzy, it's Mustache on the other side. M8 versus M8. Malabuka has no choice. 128 below the damage threshold. Queasy down, Swizzy, a sliver of HP. It's all up to Mustache.
But Mustache knows how to play it through as a solo. He can maybe clutch up big time here. He just needs a few more placements to continue in first place. Malabuka walks Ping still underneath that surge threshold. They're trying, they're so desperate. Everybody around them knows it too. They're not trying to allow the opportunity to let these guys break through their builds. But Mustache as a solo, what more could you possibly do? He's still buying points. He just needs players to fall around him.
I feel like if anybody could start to make this clutch happen, it's him. They are above the damage threshold, but no Queasy, no Swizzy. They're not in this lobby, and that means a new team is able to claim that high ground. Pixie, Vanya, and Marius. Last time we seen them on this high ground, they weren't able to convert, but this is a second chance for them, and this is a big chance because we're still into the top 15. They have no eliminations for Mustache, Swizzy, and Queasy. They only have 2 placements versus placement points. This is how you close the gap.
They're certain to have seen what that elimination feed looks like, though, but Demas, darn Pigs, seeing them control the low ground comes as no real surprise, but they know they've got to keep a hold of that front side. They're immediately going to start making their way towards it, but they still got to be careful. Height overhead. Mustache is a solo. He'll be forced to drop to ultimate low. Malabuka creeping directly underneath him, but Mustache, he doesn't realize it. He only has 6 builds. He's trying to conserve as much as he possibly can. He's just so quiet in the background.
Yeah, he's kind of waiting for the zone to force him out. Let all these teams bypass him on this rotation and hopefully try to get some sort of a sneak attack. Peterbach holding Ritual still alive in this game as well, but their material count rather low. A lot of the teams being affected by the high ground and the pressure that they keep pouring down, but at least they're 134 above the damage threshold. When it comes to Storm Surge, I think they're good from here on out, and even Pixie from up above getting another knock onto Coyota. Alex cleans that one up, so Luke going on over to him, but they're just pressuring over and over and over, whether it's an AR, the double pump, they're not letting any team look up.
It's an issue, though. Anon, Alex resigns from the low ground. They might be able to pick off Yuma, but they got to worry about Pixstar and Demas, who've essentially cut them off. They've completely surrounded Oceania. They're going to be the ones to overtake the front side of zone now, and with Darm leading the charge, spraying back next to Pump, Pars, and Baca, but no one dares to challenge Poland underneath.
That was a good time to take him out. There are 12 placements worth of points still left, more than half still on the leaderboard. Resigns trying to go in. They lose Alex along the way. Underneath, they have to turn back. That's Kanata. They're wreaking havoc on the low ground. Resigns falls all the same. The whole team gets sent back to the lobby. Even Baca's feeling it. Cars has to go on by himself. Vanya's taken down Peter. Nobody has had a chance to look up. They're denying opportunity after opportunity. Marius, Pixie, and Vanya could go all the way.
Without Acorn or Queasy in the lobby, we knew Height was probably going to default to Vanya instead, but darn, Demas Pigs, they refuse to give it up. They're still looking to bring this one home. Kanata as a solo, Marius with another elimination, just carrying all of the resources back to his Tarper. Vanya down to his final couple of builds, but thanks to that refresh, a little bit further, he can extend that Height take. Pixie thought he could maybe drop. He's got Marius right next to him. They're causing so much catastrophe, but Pixstar and Demas, that's a fight they might be willing to take.
I could count on one hand how many healthy teams are still left in this game. Kanata has no shot. He's trying to get as many placements before he eventually does go down. Vanya, I'm not sure what happened, but he gets knocked. 2 players up on the high ground. Sphinx trying to battle back, but Pixie gets dropped. Marius falls as well. Pix, Darm, and Demas, the underdogs, are looking to take it all because they might be one of the only trios left in this lobby, but I spoke too soon. Darm goes down. They have to get the revive. They're the only team on the low ground in the zone.
Sphinx and Shadows, they don't have a chance. They can't push through. They know they need to find a way to break open. But darn, that's a big shot. That's all that they needed. Phaser, last man standing on height. Pig still trying to see where's his last player. He's looking to chop out Phaser. Whether or not Phaser can even drop, does he have the Flowberry Fizz? Will he fall before he gets the chance? He was hoping somebody else would deal with Poland. But Pix and Demas, this is it. Buscagura reigning through. Pix, Demas, and Darm bring it home.
From underdogs to top dogs. And with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache going down early, that shoots them straight up that leaderboard. They look like they have been here for years. Frankie, we need to know their secret.
I don't know what their secret is, but I have to say, all year in Europe, we've been looking at Pix, Darm, and Demas. This trio that seemingly came out of nowhere and have been impressing us ever since. I mean, this has been just an incredible event for you so far, Dom.
Yeah, it was incredible, to be honest. Like, I mean, Southwest Globals and we played this good. It's crazy.
And tell me how you've worked on your game through the year, because when we first saw you competing in Major 1 as a trio, you were so aggressive, and now you know how to not over-aggress. You know how to play the game right through to its end. What have you learned along the way?
I mean, we worked with our coach Sven, so like we learned a lot and what to do and what to not do.
But he's taught you very well.
I have a huge question, but just before, je crois que Avoc a beaucoup de fans ici, faites du bruit! Fix, you have a lot of fans there. Do you have a word for them?
I love you all. Thank you for support.
Merci beaucoup pour le soutien, ils vous adorent! Faites encore du bruit pour leur trio!
Demas, playing in Majors Online is one thing, but how do you manage to achieve this success on LAN?
We played the game actually like the best as we can, like, and we just won it.
Do you think you can go even further and do the back-to-back?
I'm sorry?
Do you think you can win the next game too?
We see in 20 minutes, no?
We will see. You're going to have a bit of a break and a well-deserved one. Please, Leon, Havoc fans, show your appreciation. Pit Storm and Demas! We have to take a bit of a break, but don't go anywhere, because in a few minutes, we're going to assess what we've seen so far.
Fortnite fam, this game could not be crazier.
Pix, Demas, Darm get a victory royale at the halfway point of the competition. Game number 9 going their way. It is getting more and more chaotic. Kelly, I cannot believe with only 3 games left to go. It feels like in some ways we just started the competition. And in some ways, I wish we could just start over so we didn't have to, this is game 12, then start over game 12. Like just keep doing that. I don't want this to end.
Well, speaking of starting over, I want to start over from day number 1. Actually, the 3rd game of that day, we saw Pix, Darm, and Demas in a very similar position. They were front low zone or low ground, making sure that they were kind of taking some peeks, not really going on the aggressive like we've seen. Unfortunately, though, the team that was on high ground was Queasy's team. So although they weren't able to get the victory royale in this game, to see them make just those tiny little adjustments, understand what they need to do to take down the high ground team and then come out on top, that's what I love to see.
I love watching these guys play Fortnite, you know, and I can say that for a lot of the teams in the lobby, but these 3 in particular, they just have a poise about their game, right? They don't play like a lot of the other top teams who have been, you know, fighting at the top of the leaderboard play. These aren't a team that are uber reliant on playing high ground. But when they are on those mid and low layers, they are so devastating. You don't want to be caught anywhere near them because Demas might hit you with a shot like that. Pix might be waiting around the corner with a big one pump in hand. You know, Darm is always going to have something cooking. They are just so threatening on all fronts.
To do this against such huge names like Phaser and all these other top trios that have had LAN experience for so long, and this is their first LAN, I would never in a million years be able to guess that they would be able to handle the pressure like they are doing today.
That is so well executed from them. And I'm sure, like, you got to think in that moment, they've just got to feel over the moon, right? To have that moment, guys, we not only showed up and made it to land, we got a victory royale in land. The crowd was behind us. Incredible stuff. Up a placement now, 498 points. They're top 3, Levin.
There's 3 games left of the Global Championship, and these 3 who are playing in their first ever Global Championship sit in 3rd. Like, that's insane. Like, for them to even be able to keep their composure, if they literally just stop playing from here on out, it would be a successful tournament for these guys, right? But there's more for them. There's more to come. They're going to keep fighting till the end.
Dude, it's so sick. Okay, we're going to go back to those standings in just a moment. First, just a reminder, we are at the halfway point, which means we've let our players out. They've kind of given us some time to calm down, collect themselves, prepare for the last half of today. And then we'll get back into all the action. As we turn attention back to the standings, dude, these numbers are getting smaller and smaller, right? This is going to start coming down to the wire. I also wanted to note, you know, Kanata, Rapid, Bolts, not a big deal, but moving up a place, that's right, NA. We're getting closer to the top.
Well, if we're talking about closer to the top, though, I got to look at Vanya, Marius, and Pixie. The last hope to make this a close competition against Queasy, Mustache, and Swizzy. And honestly, if anyone can do it, it is this trio right here, holding down at OXR, but making sure that any opportunity they can get on height, they're going to take that away from Queasy.
I'm very excited because these 2 teams have been involved throughout the year in EU of writing the story of FNCS majors, and I trust these 2 to write a good ending here today. Queasy's trio didn't have the best of games. They're going into the halftime show. It was a great opportunity for Pixie, Marius, and Vanya to start to close the gap. And although I think you could say they did a great job of taking that opportunity, there was more they could have definitely got out of that game that they'll look back on maybe in regret moving forward.
I do appreciate, though, you can see that those mats are getting low. They understand that there's still a lot of viable teams in the low ground there, so they probably shouldn't be able to hold an extreme height like we've seen other trios do. So they drop down, try and get as many refreshes as they can. Unfortunately, didn't go exactly their favor, but still, I appreciate that effort.
And the thing I loved, right, is obviously all the players came off the stage. Vanya walked past, still looking cool, calm, collected. He gave me a little cheeky smile. He's like, Evan, we're coming. That first place slot, it's not safe just yet, Queasy.
Oh, man. Well, you brought him up. We might as well talk about him, right? Queasy still in that #1 spot, at least for now, right? Continuing to hold on. You know, again, I kind of talked about this earlier, about a game or 2 ago, but the fact that we haven't seen them have that game yet today, right? Today it's kind of just, hey, let's just kind of hold on, let's just stay the course, let's just make sure we're kind of trying to min-max as much as we can with what we have. But Kelly, I feel like that game is coming, right?
It's so funny because, you know, we're like, oh, this day, it's not going that well for them, but they're still making it to every single end game. And even when Mustache was down as a solo player, he was playing so smart, making sure that he was staying in the back of zone, making sure that he was staying in the mid ground to not deal with all that aggression going on in the low ground. Even when things aren't going well for them, they're still playing so smart.
I agree. I agree. I think this is going to be an interesting sort of finish for them. Yesterday, I sort of described a lot of their games as looking very easy, right? It felt like they were playing an easy game. Didn't look like there was much challenge at all. Today, the games look tough. Like, it looks like they're playing at the Global Championships now, right? And we'll see how they adjust to that. I don't necessarily even think that we will see a game like yesterday from them, but like Kelly highlighted, they're still having good games, good enough games to keep your lead if you can stay as a trio.
Yeah, it's almost like, obviously, this is us being, me specifically being hypercritical, right? Again, we watched 3 games, 3 VRs back to back, and I'm being like, I want that again, but it's like, no, you guys are right. They're having great games. I just want to see another Victory Royale. You know we're going to come back to them. It's Kanata, it's Rapid, it's Bolt moving up. And again, if we just look from like 4th up to 2nd place, right, the point differential isn't that crazy. Kanata, he won game 1 yesterday, right? We've seen it happen. So I think as long as they can continue to kind of pull that consistency up a little bit, maybe we see a VR from them, maybe we see them slowly continue to rise up the standings.
I mean, Kanata, Bolt, Rapid, they're just playing the games that they understand. They're playing a little bit passively, they're playing with the minigun, they're kind of just spraying out players and kind of hoping that something works out in their favor. But unfortunately, still not able to get into that Victory Royale situation. Kanata here even staying in Storm a little bit early, but when you have nothing else there, making sure that you make it into placement, consistency, and that is what this trio is known for. Not necessarily the elims, but just consistency. I think that they're playing the game the way that they want.
I almost wonder if we have a runner close by, because I need someone to go get a Durag. I need Durag Nada on stage right now. He's NA's only.
Try to find this. Okay, so go to Fortnite. Actually, you'll find this pretty easily. It's in the
and take a look at page
thing. Hold up, chat.
All right, let's see how things are going. On the 2nd page, again, we take a look. Chap, Reason, Mr. Savage, right? Not that terribly far away, and even in 12th, right? Think about Phaser, PhD, and King. That last game, making it to the end game. Guys, I feel like making it to the end game is so critical. So many of those points are locked up in just making it there, and I love that from this Brazilian team, we see them get there.
Absolutely. I think that the big thing is we're starting to see a lot of those teams on that 2nd page finding a bit more momentum, and it's going to get tighter and tighter. And what that means is by the time we get to game 11 and 12, it's going to get hyper and hyper, because every single decision, every single thing that happens in that game, every single placement will have an impact on who sits on that top 10.
Okay, all right, I'm getting word. We have an interview lined up. Merstash is standing by with Frankie right now.
Thank you, Mersash, for agreeing to talk to us at what must be quite a high-pressure moment. You were still top of the leaderboard with 81 points, but the games haven't been your strongest of the competition. What's been happening with the high ground? Why haven't you been able to hold on to it?
So I think so many people were reviewed and going for high ground. It was obviously, we knew it. I think we just need mental reset, and that's the break we need to win the tournament.
81 points from the 2nd place. What's the strategy now for the next games?
As I said, I think we're playing good. We just need mentally reset for all of us, and we're gonna play much better after the break.
La simple chose à faire, c'est de reset mental, c'est-à-dire repartir de zéro mentalement, se remettre bien mentalement et repartir de l'avant, parce qu'ils le savent, ils ont le niveau, et s'ils le font, normalement, d'après Merstash, ça devrait passer.
So how is the energy now for the trio, Mersash? Obviously, you still have the energy of the audience, but what are the vibes in the booth?
I mean, the vibes are still good. We kind of went down after the last game because we died earlier, but yeah, after the break, I'm pretty sure everything gonna come back and we're gonna win.
So what's the plan for the last 3 games?
Take high, don't die.
I think that you were going to play out of your mind. We only get to do this once a year, and I know you're not going anywhere without a fight. Thank you so much, Mersash. Good luck. Let's head back to the desk.
Thank you so much, Mersash, for that time. We know this time is very valuable for these players, right? So super appreciative of him. Just taking a moment, letting us kind of get into his mind, see where he's at. Oh my gosh, we only have 3 games left to go in the Global Championship. How did we get here? How did this happen so fast, Levin? Let's rewind time.
I mean, the games have just been so good. And you know what they say, time flies when you're having a blast. Looking at what Mustache said there, Kelly, he talked about them having an understanding that this type of thing was going to happen. Hype was always going to be a lot more chaotic. There was always going to be a lot more suitors going for it on day 2. And I liked how he sort of said, there's not like an in-game tactical adjustment we have to make. We just need the mental reset. We know what we're doing. We just need to execute better.
And if anyone can do it, it's going to be Queasy, one of the biggest veterans that we have in the competition, getting 2 second places in LAN already. He understands what it means to have a mental reset and to kind of coach these players to himself to be able to bring them into this mindset. I think that's really what like stands Queasy above the rest.
Yeah, I don't want this to end up being like famous last words, but there is no one more prepared than him for like the finishing race, right? Like you're approaching that moment in the last couple games of a global championship. Nobody has dealt with the bad side of it as much as him, right? So in theory, nobody should be more prepared for it.
Interesting. That's something. Also, you said something. The fact that like obviously this is a LAN setting, so if I go in and we play a lot from home, right? A lot of our majors are remote, right? If I'm at home, I'm comfortable. I'm in my chair. I'm leaned back. Got my shoes off. Got my drinks close by. It's a lot different than being in this stadium on LAN, under the lights, under the pressure of this crowd. You make a mistake, you hear a boo. You get an elim, you hear them roar, right? It just is so different. Also wanted to highlight just some little fun interactions around we've been seeing in the map as we kind of bring up the standings. I believe it's Vico, Veno, Flixie have had quite the run here at LAN. Obviously, again, love him or hate him, Veno is a character coming out, being Veno. Vico, he's a talker. He's confident, but he can back that up with a lot of his play, Levin. So I'm excited to see what they bring for the last 3 games.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. As someone who knows these guys really well, I was worried about them when I realized what the atmosphere here was gonna be like, right? Because again, they're very emotional players. In the case of Vico and Veno, at times they can allow some of these things to get to them. At times it's been difficult for them, but it's good to see that in moments in-game, they're not allowing that noise to really get to them, right? They're able to stay locked in. This game, unfortunately, was not a great example of that. Raito really just put them to sleep, put them to shame. So again, I think like Mustache's trio, this break will be huge for these guys for a mental reset.
Yeah, definitely. And, Raito there has got to be feeling good representing the smaller regions here, especially to take down someone like Veno, Vico, Flixie, who have kind of put a little bit of a target on their back. You know that the audience loved what? No, yeah, a little bit, just a little bit.
I never noticed.
I like that. Guys, I'm getting word. I want to head on up to a little interview. Benji is standing by with Gotaga.
What?
Eh oui, les amis, regardez, je suis en compagnie de quelqu'un ici que vous connaissez bien. Eh oui, Coco, oui, Gota, je sais que tu adores ça. Gota, j'ai entendu dire que c'était un jour un peu particulier pour toi aujourd'hui, non?
Oui, on va être champion du monde, c'est pour ça.
Eh non, je parle évidemment de ton anniversaire, Gota. C'est aujourd'hui l'anniversaire de Gotaga. Eh, c'est quand même pas mal comme anniversaire pour l'instant.
C'est vrai. Et mes joueurs peuvent m'offrir le meilleur cadeau ever le jour de mon anniversaire, donc c'est trop bien.
S'il le fait, c'est vraiment le meilleur cadeau ever, clairement.
Oui, totalement.
Bon, comment ça se passe pour vous pour l'instant, cette finale, ce cast avec Squeezie, Brox et Nikov, tout ça va? Ça va bien?
C'est incroyable, là on commence un peu à stresser, on a la pression à chaque bus qui part, et non, c'est ouf. Le public, la France, les fans de Gentleman, les fans des autres structures, un grand merci à tout le monde. Vous êtes énormes, vous faites rayonner la France à l'international, les gars. Merci pour tout, vraiment.
Dernière question. Il n'y a plus que 81 points d'avance pour le trio de Merstache. Est-ce que ça va le faire? Est-ce qu'ils vont aller au bout, Gota?
Je pense qu'ils vont aller au bout, et au pire des cas, c'est Vagnac. Donc voilà, les gars. Voilà, on est trop bien.
Les gars, du bruit pour Gotaga, Squeezie, Brox et Nico. Encore un joyeux anniversaire, Gota, mais c'est pas le seul. On a d'autres anniversaires à souhaiter aujourd'hui. Et le prochain, c'est avec Frankie. Frankie, it's your turn.
Merci beaucoup, Benji. From one birthday boy to another. Amar, what's it like spending your birthday with an incredible arena like this?
It is actually amazing to have this kind of birthday present. Gotaga, my friends, bon anniversaire as well from here upstairs. Gotaga and gentlemen, thank you very much. It's actually insane.
Have you got a joint birthday party planned for later?
I might have planned a birthday party, right? Yeah, it's.
To you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Ama, happy birthday to you.
Now, Amar, make a wish. Wish for your favorite player. Who is winning the 2025 Fortnite Global Championship? We don't know, but it will be whoever Amar wished for. And he's going to tell me in just a moment. Okay.
Can I just do one thing quick?
Absolutely.
Gentle! Gentle!
Gentle, gentle, gentle!
Let's go! Thank you very much.
Happy birthday, Amar.
Who wants some cake?
Well, I think we're just gonna go and we're gonna go and have some cake here, and you guys enjoy this.
The trophy lift's the best part of any LAN. Hearing the crowd cheer you on and casters, even the pros.
كاس يعطيه زي ما تقول جائزة اللي هو يستحق التعب اللي هو سواه.
Yeah, a lot of players dream of lifting the trophy at LAN. Yeah, raising the trophy at LAN was definitely the highlight of my career.
Hearing all the crowd and all the people like yelling when I walked out, like that's an experience that I won't even pay to do again.
It was just such an amazing feeling to complete the dream, the best moment of my life, 100%.
Honestly, lifting the trophy at LAN, there's nothing that can compare that to. I don't know if I'm ever gonna feel anything like that again.
The trophy's looking clean.
Yeah, that's a good looking trophy.
I mean, that trophy's 10 times better than my...
شعور اني فزت 4 فنسس ولا قدرت اشيل كاس شعور غريب شوي. يجيني شعور داخلي لان ليش انا ما رفعت كاس الى الان.
I really want to lift the trophy. Hopefully this year I can finally lift it. I think winning online is 100 times better than winning online just because the atmosphere, the experience, the fans, and like the trophy lift.
Everything at LAN is just more exciting, more fun, has more eyes on it.
Yeah, it 100% feels like this every time you go in the LAN. You just chase that feeling over and over again, clutch after clutch, win after win.
I don't think anything in life could make me more happy, and I also want my teammates to experience it. Like I said, I mean, it's such a one-of-one feeling. If it's not a win on LAN, then it doesn't really matter.
So to win here at Global would just be a great feeling on moment, honestly, because it's something that I've had on my list for a while now. Winning an official Fortnite LAN would definitely be the craziest moment in my career for sure.
إذا تيم مدريس رفع الكاس وفاز بالبطولة بيرفع اسم مدريس الأعلى مثل الجمعية هناك.
I think it's just gonna be a beautiful addition to the collection.
I've already won before with the different teammates, so I can win again.
A lot of people said I'm an underdog, but I showed them not.
إني أتشوق اللحظة إني أرفع الكاس.
Look, we all wish we could take that trophy home. You know, guys, I'm just gonna go up the. I gotta. Someone's calling me. I'm gonna go up the stage real fast.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. I'll be right back. You guys just keep doing your thing. No, but in all seriousness, of course, this is a good time once again. Players are currently, we've taken a break, right? Getting that mental reset, and they'll get back to the action as quickly as we can. Seeing all these players kind of talk about that trophy, this just means so much, right? Like, obviously, prize money's awesome, right? Life-changing amounts of stuff. But like a global champion title and a trophy to kind of forever cement your accomplishment, dude, that's what so many of these players, they chase.
And there's players like, there's just so many different situations when a team comes into a LAN setting like this, whether you think that they're the favorites to win it all or they're the underdogs and they somehow come out on top, and that it just inspires so many people, so many players. And I always like to ask the question for the winners, what do you want to say to people that want to be like you, and the inspiration that they have, that they want to just show to all the kids watching, essentially, that this can be them. I mean, you look back on those previous winners, at one point they were starting new in Fortnite, and to be able to focus themselves, to be able to climb up all the way to this stage and then grab that trophy for themselves just means so much to not only them, but to all their fans watching as well.
Like Kelly's hyping me up right now.
Again, you hyped up.
I want to run through a brick wall right now. I'm ready to go lift that trophy myself. I mean, I wish I could. Maybe not this year, maybe next year. Look, you're spot on, Kelly. The euphoric feeling you get from being able to step up once the competition is done, all the lights shining bright on you, you make your walk to lift the trophy. It's something you never ever forget. And it's something that, you know, whenever I talk to these players after the Global Championships, the players who didn't win, that's always what they're focusing on. It's always like, oh,
yeah.
I wish I could be the one to lift that trophy. Next year is my time.
For me, in esports, I always talk about the story, and right now there is a beautiful story building going all the way back to the Invitational, Cammy and Seti versus Queasy and Vino. The story that everyone said saved competitive Fortnite was Queasy and Vino landing on Cammy and Seti, and although it didn't go their way and they got second place, that cemented them in competitive Fortnite forever. And then you go to
Yo, guys, comment on who's gonna win, man. Let me know in the comments down below. I'm doing some homework right now, so I'll be back here in a little bit.
And get second place once again. Full circle. We are here now, back on the global stage, and Queasy finally has that first place spot in his grasp.
It's right there.
It's right there.
Hey,
this has been a story building for 3 years.
Now, obviously, the person right behind him on his heels, right, is Vanya saying, hold on, Queasy, I've got the crowd behind me. Don't get too far away. Now, obviously, you can see the players are starting to get back on the stage. They're starting to take their seats once more. We'll get back into games as quickly as we can. But man, oh man, tension is building for sure. 3 games, and now you start asking the question, now that you guys have had that mental reset, what is the game plan? At this point, this is a brand new competition. You have 3 games. Whatever has happened before now does not matter. We're either playing to try and take away first from Queasy, or we're trying to play to get a top 10, because that is life-changing money.
You leave it all out on the server. 3 most important games of your Fortnite life.
Yep.
You have to do whatever it takes, as crazy as it sounds.
But what is whatever it takes? Are we going to see what we saw in Major 3 for the North American Championships? Are we going to have the second place team land on the first place team? Are we going to see some crazy rotations? We've also seen teams change up their drop spots in the final moment. Is that what's going to happen? And it's not just fighting for first. We keep talking about first place. That is where the glory is. However, all of these teams are making sure that they can climb up that leaderboard, grab the bigger piece of the pie, because everyone here is fighting for notoriety and fighting for that prize pool.
Absolutely. I mean, look, we always speak about the top surprising players who have performed. You know, your placement here might catapult your career in the next direction. I look back to last year, right? A lot of the players who didn't win, but ended up becoming sort of stars in the world of Fortnite. The guys like Wox, guys like Bolts, right? They didn't win the competition, but everyone left the competition talking about how they performed. You want to put yourself in that category, someone who people are talking about for months and months after the competition.
It's only a catapult, right? From this point forward, regardless of where they end, I would say at the end of the day, these guys have made the Global Championship. This is the biggest stage possible. These are some of the best trios in the world. And now, like what you're saying, right? To say, let's just get into the top, let's place top 5. Instant respect, instant street cred. How many of these trios are looking to do that? And that's what I'm saying, man. 3 games, let's go. Kelly, I mean, let's get crazy, right? Everybody in the lobby, let's just go let Queasy, let's take him out. Let's try and close the gap, and then everybody kind of walk around.
Why do you say Kelly? He's trying to put that on me right now.
I don't think Queasy's going to be a big fan of you guys anymore. I mean, everyone, you can't be having none of that. I mean, look, if you ask him right now, he'd say, yeah, they can do whatever. We're ready for it, right? Because that is just how stone cold he is. And we'll see if in these next 3 games he really can solidify himself as the greatest IGL of all time.
But we can't count out the rest of the teams in 2nd and 3rd and 4th place. We saw game number 6, Pablo Lingo walk out with almost a 200-point game. So much can change if you're able to grab all of those eliminations, if you're able to kind of control the low ground while Queasy's sticking up high, making sure that he's just staying alive. There is still a chance, there is still an opportunity, but with 3 games left, Zeke, only time will tell what's going to happen.
You got to think the pressure's got to be through the roof. Think about coming into day number 1, right? Oh, you know, LAN, here we are, my friends, my peers, this amazing crowd. Pressure's on. First half of day 2, hey, maybe we're doing well, maybe we're not, you know, whatever. The last 3 games, this will be it. Pressure is through the, even just looking at Queasy, right? Can he handle that pressure with only 3 games? When I look at Queasy and even how he was from the beginning of day 1 yesterday to where we are right now, he looks the same. He looks locked in. It looks like, hey, I'm putting up as many walls to keep this noise out as possible because I know what I came here to do. I just have to do it, Levin.
I mean, he's not going to give too much away. I'm sure thoughts will be racing through his head, but he must remain stoic, he must remain ice cold, especially when you're the leader of the team, right? Swizzy and Mustache, outstanding players who look to him for guidance and leadership. If he starts to look shaky, if he starts to look nervous, it might impact them negatively. Again, these are the types of things the best leaders in our game have to do.
Man, Bolts, Rapid, and Kanata, joined by Higgs, Clicks, and Yamzo, holding up North America, making sure that they are not kicked out of that top 5 and top 10 respectively. But honestly, you were right at the beginning of the show, Levin. EU is on top right now, but which of the EU teams will come out on that top?
You know, I'm actually curious. I have the corner of my eye there, Pico, Venom, Flixie, right? They're about 100 points behind, but one good game, like you said, Kelly, could change everything. With that being said, why don't we go say what's up to our casters to get things started.
Thank you guys so much. This is the final stretch, the last leg of Day 2's competition here at the 2025 FNCS Global Championship, Jacob. And anything could happen because that top 2 started to get uncomfortably close.
Yeah, anything has happened already. 185 points to start the day. That was the lead from Queasy, Swizzy, and Merstache, and it has been decimated. Only 81 points separate first and second place. You got to give it up to the EU teams all weekend long for performing great, but the next game is ready. Let's get right into the action.
This is the starting point for where champions are really going to be tested. The battle bus taking off here in game 10. And there's one off-spawn fight that I have a feeling we're going to need to see a little bit of a resurgence from Tayson if he intends on continuing to pose a threat for that top half of the leaderboard. So far here today, it has been largely Broxy's team coming out on top, but anything could change in the blink of an eye.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Who invited Aspect to this party? A whole nother trio now joining the fun at Rangers Ruin. That just put a huge switch up on how these things have been playing out, but instead of a straight 50-50, the majority of these fights, they're trying to take two different sides of the POI. On the outskirts is Aspect and his trio, Tinka. They're trying to loot up. This is the team coming into the Global Championship. They were landing at the Kappa Kappa factory. SETI lands over there. They are on fire. I wouldn't want to land there either, so they're just trying to figure out something.
Seems a little bit bizarre, though, that Kazi Aspect would choose to actually try and land as a third party here at Rangers Ruin. This is preposterous. Pablo, Chino, Proxy, they fully understand we've got to create a little bit of a gap here. They're already splitting this POI slightly with Tayson, Chicho, and Atris, and Aspect Tinka. They did not get the drop they were looking for. Tayson, Chicho, and Atris, they might just be able to run the Yoshi fellas out of here, if not run them down for eliminations entirely.
Honestly, considering the little bit of loot that they did have, you know, Wrecker Revolver on one, Sentinel Pump on the other, and they do have some shields as well. Not what I expected out of this drop, but they're figuring out a way to stay alive. Protexi just immediately runs out of Rangers Ruin. He said, nah, I do not want to fight that triple contested drop. They immediately move towards the west and find a key elimination. Prodoxy, Chino, and Pablo are revved up and ready to go.
This is the effect of VOD Review because they completely shut out Striker and Tisco's teammate, Kadu, just nowhere left to escape. That's a really nice elimination to find, too, especially considering that they were pretty much forced out of Rangers Ruin due to Kazi third-partying.
Now Striker and Tisco just kind of hiding. They know their teammate went down in that direction. All those builds, and he's trying to figure out, assess the situation. Can we get those revives, boots back up? But Pico, Benno, Flixie returning back to their throne. The first elimination's cleaned up. Toyota figures out a way to even the fight, even landing some crucial damage on the Flixie as he tries to run away. Toyota finishes the job. 2 straight knocks right off the start.
It's definitely going to be a bumpy road for Benno's team if this storyline just continues to hold strong here. But someone who hasn't had any issues with their early game, it's going to be Swizzy, Queasy, and Merstache, just taking full advantage of everything that's provided by the Hive. And Swizzy even doing a great job scouting around, heading straight towards the top of their surge base. They're ready to start getting some tags in.
Oh my, another team, Aspect, Tika, Kazi. They say, you know what? We already affected one fight at Rangers Ruin. What's the harm in going to another? They immediately make their way on over. towards the top side. Tayson, Chicho, and Riz say, you know what? We're going to chase him as far as we can towards the edge of the zone. Once they reach that point, they realize they don't have the loadout they want. 30 builds on one of those players, an empty item slot. They're immediately about face. They're trying to figure out where they can pick up the scraps from.
But you don't want to be operating with scraps when players like Marius, Pixie, and Vanya just have so much at their disposal. Uncontested, Poix are headquarters. They can spend so much time here, Jacob, and they tend to more often than not. But Visuals, Bray diminished. They might have something to say about it. They went for an attempt at a sneak plan last game. It was delayed, but they're still able to, follow through that last lobby. But now, Pixstar and Demas, a little bit of a fickle position at Kappa Kappa Factory. No one else in sight. But I wouldn't be too worried about these guys just yet. I mean, they're rolling off that momentum from the last win.
Yeah, and I know we're talking about it, but to start the year, Pixstar and Demas haven't even played a single game in a regional FNCS final. And now you look at the end of the year, they've not only won a game on the biggest stage Fortnite has to offer, they're in contention of winning the Fortnite Global Championship. If I've ever seen a Cinderella story, this will be one right here. But they have so many juggernauts in their path. Not just Mustache in the trio, not just Pixie, Vanya, and Marius, but Seti, Yapko, Panzer, Kanata, Bolts, and Rapid as well.
But something that took place in the last lobby, Jacob, is that we saw many of our top 10 players on the leaderboard getting eliminated early on. And Pollo, Agers, Acorn, well, they're still looking to try and break into that in the first place. Agers gonna find the first elimination onto Wixie. And sure enough, Gentle Mates letting everyone know just how much they support seeing Pollo prosper as he continues trying to apply damage, trying to apply pressure. Alex nowhere left to run, just getting shot at from every direction.
Agers, Acorn, and Pollo, that's been one of the biggest thorns in their side. They kind of thought they would have multiple teams in the distance from Demon's Debris that were building surge towers to trade shots with, but they're getting pushed. They're forced on a roulette drop spot and having to force a fight just like this. So a huge change in the game plan coming into the weekend, but Pollo's not going to slow down. He doesn't want to stop or be denied this opportunity. Acorn picks up that elimination on the resides. OCE is out of this lobby in Game 10, and that's continuing to build the confidence for Pollo, Agers, and Acorn.
And the main reason why they're even pushing this far south is because the team that they've been typically trying to establish a little bit of surge trading action with, FKS, Hero, Halad, they have not been faring well off spawn. And so with that trio being eliminated, well, Acorn, Agers, Pollo, you've got to look elsewhere. So where do they end up? Tackling Alex in on Resigns. That might be a recurring theme. Hard to tell just yet, but they still got to make up for so much lost time, and they're not the only ones. Yamzo, Clicks, and Higgs. We've seen just how stone-faced they have been between each of these lobbies. They were starting off day 2 in that 8th place position, but they have been getting pushed lower and lower in that leaderboard.
Yeah, more and more teams choosing to rotate early, not giving them the surge that they were looking for. But back to this fight here, it may not be off the drop on this spawn, but they're all looted up, ready to go. Back at Ranger's Ruin, Tayson looking across, Pablo's there, but he's going to go ahead and try to disengage as far as possible using the crash pad, even if that means going further and further away from where the zone's actually at. And you can see why Gazzetta, Way, and Scarpa have been third-partying Ranger's Ruin all weekend long, but they have that awareness to watch out for it.
The difference, though, is that they've been third-partying a weekend Proxy or a weekend Tayson trio, and now they're having to deal with Proxy, Pablo, and Gino perfectly healthy and ready to strike. Not only that, but they're still also tangled up with Tayson underneath them. Penguin Malabuka, though, on the ropes here, trying to see if they can battle their way out of this box fight position, but Kappa Kappa Factory, this is all just spilling over and against them. They're seeing whether or not they'll even have the opportunity to go for an immediate fight here, but Victor B, he's immediately cranking up onto height, all stuck inside of these early storm ticks.
Yeah, he's gonna knight with Paper on the top side of this fight. Epic Whale kind of stuck down below as a solo, but with Paper and Victor B being a distraction, Walks is gonna get dropped down to own the HP. Epic Whale is moving up that high ground. They finally figured a way on the side of Malabuka, Walks, and Pings to converge into the same box. But this is their chance now with all those extra hills. This is their original surge base. Just gotta sit towards the middle, and figure out the plan for Epicwell, Victor V, and Paper. So that way, they can try to make that smart move. But Victor V, Paper, Epicwell, they're just going to go ahead and disengage on out. They got that early Storm Surge damage, and now they just want to beat teams on that rotation.
Just looking to get a little bit of space creation here. Because eventually, Bing, Malabuka, and Watts are going to have to move from this position, but might have been a little bit too ambitious, trying to just crash pad out directly in the line of sights there from Watts, Malabuka, and Ping. Of course, you're going to eat some damage in exchange.
Poyo, Agers, and Acorn. Not only did they get their Demon Debris Medallion, the mythic weapon, they got the eliminations onto Anon, Resign, and Alex. They immediately moved towards the eastern side of the map. One of the only teams on this side of the map having access to that bunker, and they immediately take it. And this is where they start to replenish everything from materials to resources, their loadout. And since they're ahead of all these other teams in that path, they have the time to go ahead and continue to rotate toward the north. Same thing for some of these teams that are working their way from the top down. Savage Chat Reason, even though they are missing some shields, it's in the name of Storm Surge. Taking those shots, taking those chances, so that way they don't have to worry about it later in the game.
So Savage, Reason, and Chap are going to have to dig deep here, though, Jacob. They took a way too early departure in the last lobby, and having been chopped just now, fortunately, Chap, Reason, able to utilize some of that Flowberry Fizz, their Surge base, obviously stockpiled with more than enough resources, so not too heavily in danger, but at the same time, fully aware of the fact that teams are looking to try and catch them slipping.
Yeah, for that team that knocked down, even though they survived, it's like, do I invest the resources, build another Surge Tower, or do I just try to rotate? Chino, Fordoxy, Pablo, one of the more aggressive teams in the lobby, especially Chino. The most eliminations in all of the Fortnite Global Championship so far when it comes to individual players. And guess what? Let's add one more to that total as Gabzetta goes down. And that's a little bit personal. It's not just for the points to catch up on the leaderboard. It's not just for the Storm Surge. It's just to shoo that fly away from their picnic.
That's really all it's been, kind of just that gnat in your face. They won't leave them alone, but you know what? For Fordoxy, Chino, and Pablo, when they've actually got some materials and a loadout to work with, this is the last team you ever want to get caught up with in a box fight because they have such a commanding presence in those aggressive instances.
Yeah, here's just that. We might have missed it, but Chino's gonna make sure we do not miss all the action. That was only his first elimination. We saw this one on the Gabzetta, so he went back to back with a little bit of help from Fred.
Why'd that look like a little edit course, though? He's just like, this is just another day for me. Like, another day at the office entirely. But King, PA's in phaser, scouting out area. Never want to leave yourself too overexposed, but Fordoxy, no intentions of slowing down just yet. Now, they can finally enter this fight. Tayson has been knocked. Chino, once he gets going, it's like impossible to shut him down. And Chino, side by side, racking up the eliminations, several now to boot. That's just on his own head. Fordoxy and Pablo also rocking their own individual eliminations, but they are a little bit hurt. They do have so much to bring themselves back up to full HP, though, Jacob, because of these win-outs on their fights.
Yeah, even after taking down Tayson's team, you still see Focus, Upple, Mixon, here, Tinka Aspect, and their trio were there at one point or another, but they immediately saw what was going on and said, hey, it might be better for us to try to go to the zone, worry about Storm Surge a little bit later. At least there's two teams we can try to look back on and try to focus. Fred underneath, along with Pablo and Chino, they're just trying to assess the situation. They know another team is up there. They just don't know exactly where they're positioned at.
After yesterday, Upple, Focus, and Mixon, we saw opportunities for where they were able to shine, but dealing with a team like Fordoxy, Pablo, and Chino, it's usually not worth sticking around. Better to just prioritize the positioning, shoot out the crash pad from behind you, but both these trios just gonna head their separate directions, two different styles of rotate.
Ooh, it might not be the biggest upgrade for them, but they are gonna be able to replenish their crash pads if it does spawn out. Maybe upgrade their Sentinel pump if it does drop as well. 3 different ones, but that's what they get. A little bit more loot to work with. once they get that rank upgrade. And it's only a B rank though, so you can see the kind of the slow play, no eliminations, not necessarily their game plan though.
I like this dead side wraparound though from Seti, Panzer, and Yapko. They've got early surge already locked in, so they're gonna opt to already make a direct line in towards the elevation of the mountain range and potentially push back other teams that might be looking to try and rotate a little bit after the fact.
I can agree with that. Takes in Yamzo. This time around, the zone pulling towards the north, which means they kind of have the luxury to be able to sit in their base. I believe this might have been the team that we saw kind of get chopped earlier on in this game, but as we tune in, Ager is feeling a little bit of struggle. That's Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual on the other side. They have to abandon ship in terms of getting Agers back into the game, so Polio, Acorn, they're going to have to work this as a duo, and that's a huge disadvantage going against NA champs, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual, and they're looking to get aggressive. There's only one way back into this game, and it's through eliminations itself.
This is starting to feel like Major 3 and NAC all over again right now, Jacob. Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual seemingly in the driver's seat right now for this box fight. That is up until Cold loses a good chunk of his shield. He's going to retreat back towards the high ground. Polio, Agers, side by side, holding down this lower layer. But the longer this drags out, the more time it provides for Ryu, Snowy, and Sa to move in.
Yeah, just a kind of scary situation, because even with the knock on the Agers, Peterbot, Cold, and Ritual didn't play aggressive, and that's usually something you see out of this team time and time again, especially since they have a deficit that they have on the leaderboard, 14th place versus 18th. You'd expect both of these teams to try to make some sort of a play, but they also know this is the two teams we've been seeing all year long essentially battle it out for 1 and 2 in terms of actual top spots and grand finals leaderboards, but in terms of the community as well.
But Polio and Peterbot, Jacob, they were just global champions. They did that together. And now, here today, both of them going on huge recovery tours just to try and bring themselves back into contention for top 5. But Peterbot, Ritual, Cold, they're just continuing to push themselves up the cliff face there. Have to check back in to see whether or not Acorn Polio even decided to pick back up on that engagement. But for right now, Reason, Chap, this is dangerous. They've got Chino, Prodoxy, and Pablo trailing them, and they've already lost Mr. Savage. They want to play for the reboot, but they've got to deal with Hero first.
Yeah, they're kind of faking it. Faking like they were going to try to crash pad away, get somebody on the other side to make a mistake. Even though they didn't peek, they realized where they were and immediately start to put pressure down. They have the Stinger. They have the minigun. They are going to melt through these builds if they could focus all on the same target. For Reason and Chap, they are 1,300 damage above the threshold, dropping down to 1,100, but they have more than enough to focus on trying to get Savage back into the game. No other team, or at least not many, can say that they have that amount of comfortability. And so Prodoxy, Chino, Pablo, they're just going to continue to try to rotate, use the Flowberry Fizz, use the Crash Pad to get out.
We can get a chance to look in and see what happened. Mr. Savage just too preoccupied dealing with Halad on the other side of his wall. Doesn't get a chance to close off his back tarp. That is a big play to come into fruition there. It's going to be a huge setback too for Chap and Reason to try and bring it back. But Matias, Pixie, Vanya, they've got so much damage right now above the surge threshold, Jacob. All they want to prioritize is the high ground hold. They have made that very clear here today.
Yeah, and they got a smooth rotation in. Every other team in front of them is also doing the same thing, so they're not going to be contested by many up until the point where they start to hit that line on the zone. You see it's getting stacked more and more on the south side, where more and more teams are going to have to rotate into. On the whole northeast side, there's 3 teams stacked up. Malibu, Pings, and Walks going to be one of them. Day 2 today, their run has been impeccable. 345 points, doing their best to close the gap as much as they can, but they're kind of in a tough situation here. We talked about 3 big teams all around, ready to fight if they make a mistake, and they're all going to rotate out first, beating Malibu, Pings, and Walks on this rotation.
Smart that they're not trying to overcommit. Talking about overcommitments, Chap sees FKS. They were trying to bring him back into the mix, but Chap's taking full advantage of the situation, just bragging out entirely. FKS, the secondary elimination there, and that is exactly what Chap and Reason needed. Breathing room. Maybe we'll see Mr. Savage back in this one.
And for Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache, this is a moment This is a moment because they've had 2 lackluster games so far. One decently well-played one, and that 185-point gap got dropped to 81. But with still an 81-point lead, it's about a game or so. They have a cushion. They just need to execute here and now. They cannot wait, because if they falter early, that's just opening up the floodgates for anybody and everybody to start to catch up.
But the north side of the zone, it's starting to pull so much congestion. Clicks, Yamzo, Higgs, they want to take over the positioning that Curly, Reed, and Cooper currently reside in, but they don't even realize just on the other end of that box, Chino, Pablo, Fredoxy, and you want to talk about guys who are looking for a fight. Just look at the amount of eliminations they've already acquired by 7th zone. This is one of the few teams, might even be the only team capable of dropping a double-digit elimination win.
Capable, they did it yesterday to close out the day. 19 eliminations. This is giving me flashbacks of just that. They're moving from Clicks, Higgs, and Yamzo to a whole nother trio towards the north side of the map. That's Baka, Pars, and Pump. And they have the luxury. They can wait. They can let that team make a mistake, but you're seeing Storm Surge really start to affect this lobby. Kanata, even while he's 1,500 above, finding opportunities and not trying to let them pass. They started off the entire tournament with a Game 1 victory royale and doing their best to remain consistent ever since. NA's best hope to win the entire tournament and stay inside of the top 5.
They've got a lot of Surge, zone, pull, rather favorable for the time being. And being in that 4th place position, they gotta hold their own. Vortex, Goofy, Mountain, it could be a real threat, but Kanata just immediately pushing them back. Don't start trying to peek our direction. Still, Sphinx, Buzz, and Shadow, they didn't get the memo. They're still willing to try and cross over, but Reason smothered, trying to see if he can live. Aspect gonna be knocked though, and that's everything for Reason right now. He needed some form of a lifeline and the life jacket from that elimination. If he can get to the body loop, but no! Another team, Mixin and Upful, they're gonna take over.
And just a little bit more than those siphon materials. Upful and Mixin, just like you said, they went ahead and stole all of that loot from the other loot that Reason desperately needed, but he gets tagged up. Oh my, a turnaround 180, turns and burns to take down Kazi. And I was talking about how low of resources he actually had. Well, that siphon is gonna help tenfold.
Reason knows Amar is watching. He's trying to deliver the best sort of birthday gift, and what's better than clutching up a nice set of eliminations here to keep the dream going. But Reason starting to get a little lobby focus. Some heavy hitters right in front of him. Demon, Starman, Picks, but as a solo, what more can he do? He has to stay hidden. He has to conceal himself backside his zone. For Stash, he's lost his IGL. He's lost his other fragger. It's Poyo who's taken out his fellow gentlemate. Swizzy eliminated. Agers gonna come at a cost, but the double revive, they might be able to pull it off. They're gonna drop all the way down to the bottom of the mountain face, but it was too far. They weren't intending to stand themselves directly outside with the zone pool. The zone pool is saving them.
Yeah, the zone pool is truly a blessing for Agers, Acorn, and Poyo, because it also stopped them becoming a focus of that lobby on that side. But with Queasy, Swizzy, and Mustache having some difficulties in this game, it leaves high ground open for none other than Vanya, Marius, and Pixie. Does anybody challenge that high ground? For Chino, Pablo would probably be one of my best bets, but you can see a huge amount of resources missing. 6 HP, only finding bandages, and eventually we'll go back to 2 empty slots.
There's so much metal, all these pre-existing builds, and not only that, but the shift in elevation. Pixie well overhead. He might be able to even see this team scattered through the low ground. They're trying to get whatever hidden positions they can, but Proxy, he runs into the wrong box. Proxy's immediately put down into the dirt. Pablo and Chino, they're gonna have to get it out the mud, and Pablo with the elimination onto Upful now means that they're stuck inside the building. They've gotta break out.
But this is the point in time in the game. Top 17 teams still left alive. Placement points will start to click in with every team that falls and cascade further and further, with the eventual winner getting 65 points. But in the feed, you see Chino, he's going to go down.
Oh no.
Yep, that puts pain and hunger inside as Pix is now feeling that same pressure. He's gonna fall. Demas is being stuck by himself. He has to try to figure out a way out of this situation because they have no resources. Darm, they're separated just a little bit. No materials, and now the zone and somebody else moving in. But oh my, he does it again. Big Darm is gonna take down Poyo.
And this is exactly why they are the prospects of both doing everything he can to make the impossible happen. But Marius, Pixie, Vanya, they're just so healthy overhead. Darm is going to meet his demise at the hands of Merstash, but Merstash just not enough gas left in the tank. He's taken out. The rage coming through. The frustration is felt. So many placement points lost.
A ton of placement points lost. They got around the top 15. It is wide open. If Pixie, Marius, and Vanya can figure out a way to win this game with a certain number of eliminations, for one of the first times today, we could see a new first place team. But Taco, don't let me get too ahead of myself. 2 different games today. We saw them on high ground and they faltered. This could be third chance to Tarm.
But look at the amount of materials they have, Jacob. 85 builds, and that's just on Marius. They are so strongly overhead. The rest of the lobby collapsing into itself. It's cannibalizing itself underneath them. They hardly have to do anything at all. Just spray, suppress, while Pablo continuing to try and push through the storm sickness, tearing away at his back. He finally manages to get inside the zone, but they've been chopped. Pixie saves himself at the last second with the crash pad, but it's Kanata. He's going up. Marius trying to stop it. Marius brings down Bolts. There's no way he's going to let this one slide away.
The win in itself is not enough for them to take first. I said they need a certain number of eliminations. Well, that's one step further for taking that top spot, and now the pressure continues. Rapid scrambling around. He has very little builds. Kanata, he is out. Not a single material left. The splashes are running out as well. Pings from F8 trying to make a miracle run continue. 373 points. It is on him for the solo clutch to pick up these points.
Queasy's just a fan of everybody else in this lobby right now. He needs someone to take out height. He needs to see Vanya Boo Boo fall from the top of it all. But Clicks still trying to heal backside his own. He's got nothing left. Storm's gonna take care of him. Vanya, Pixie, and Marius, though, refuse to budge. They're not gonna let this one slip through their fingers. For Queasy, it's like grabbing at smoke, watching this lobby try to take them down. Muzz and Shadow still giving some hope. They are a fully intact trio.
There's only 3 full trios left in this game. Shadow, Sphinx, and Muzz are one of them. But they're getting pressured on the other side, on the low ground by King Phaser. P8's in. They're trying to run around, take priority on the zone. They have beaten Muzz up this hill, but they're focusing on the high ground. They ran out of build. It's all turning sideways. Down goes P8's in. King is scrambling. He's able to get one, but it's not enough. 3v3. The eventuality comes in. Marius is dropping down. He wants to finish the fight, but he's going to go down. Vanya trying to stay up. 2 different medkits. 2 splashes left, and it's a 1v3 situation.
Muzz, Sphinx, and Shadow might have just done it. All they have to do is remain fully intact. Vanya's still from up above. He's got a couple of chug splashes. He's got a couple of medkits. This might be our first heal up that we are witnessing, Jacob. He knows he doesn't have any other choice. He's got to fully retreat. Sphinx gonna be the last line of defense. He's violating going forward. He can't manage to figure out where Vanya is at, though. There's so much space in between them. Shadow still has 130 left in the med mist, but Vanya, more bandages, still has the splashes. Is Storm Sickness going to come into effect, or will Shadow manage to do it with the med mist? Vanya scrambling. He found another med kit. Where does it keep coming from? But he can't hold on. It's completely over. It was an excellent attempt, but Sphinx, Muzz, and Shadow, they find their one.
You saw Sphinx right there. Nah, letting them know. Multi-region champion Muzz showing up big, and the young star Shadow has showed up to take a big win on the international stage. Frankie, I need to know how they're feeling.
Guys, that was absolutely incredible. My favorite heel-off I have ever watched. I know, Muzz, that you went down first, but what was it like watching these two?
Wait, no, I was alive.
Oh, you were alive. I'm so sorry. I was literally eyes on 3 parts of the screen there. So you were alive.
Yeah.
What was the heel-off like?
My heart was beating, I'm not gonna lie. Like, it was beating. Now, I've always wanted to win a game on LAN, and I finally did it. So, shout out to the best IG on the world.
Congratulations, Muzz. I mean, Benji.
Yeah, you did it. The first victory royale on this grand final for you. How do you feel, man?
I feel great, you know. I'm just happy right now. My heart was beating so bad that last game, but we pulled through.
Il est trop heureux, tout simplement. C'est vrai, c'est la première, il a dit, c'est que du bonheur pour lui. Première victoire royale dans ce tournoi pour ce trio.
I feel like your hearts might have been beating, but you were full on confidence.
Yeah.
For you, was your hand shaking, or were you just eyes on the prize?
Frankie, we had this interview twice before. This ain't nothing new to me, you know what I'm saying?
Sphinx, you do have form at Global Championship, but how does this one compare to Lands of the Past?
It feels good. You know, we low-key sold day one. We're bringing it back today. It just feels good to know, like, I still got it in me, you know what I'm saying?
Of course you've still got it in you. This whole team has got it in them. But what's the plan now? What is the purpose of these next 2 games?
Changed nothing. It's working today.
It's worked so well for you. Thank you so much. Everyone,